Alright, let's cut through the noise here. Imagine this: a political leader stands in Dover, staring across the channel, and promises to be relentless in stopping people from swimming to the UK. Sounds dramatic, right? But here's the thing, this isn't just about border control. It's about power, perception, and the messy reality of human desperation. Let me break this down for you. Burnham's talking about doubling enforcement officers on both sides of the channel. On paper, that sounds like a win. But here's what gets me: when they say relentless, what exactly does that mean? Are they cracking down harder, or are they just trying to make the public feel like something is being done? Because let's face it, the numbers don't always back up the hype. The Home Office claims 72,000 more people could have crossed if all the seized boats were used. But wait, how do we know that? The BBC can't verify it. That's not a detail I find fascinating, that's a red flag. If the data isn't solid, how do we trust the narrative? Now, let's talk about Ceuta. Tens of thousands of migrants swam into this Spanish exclave, and 98% were sent back to Morocco. Burnham points to that as a success. But here's the catch: Morocco isn't exactly a model of human rights. Sending people back to a country where they might face persecution or violence? That's not a safe route, it's a political shortcut. What makes this really interesting is how the UK is using Ceuta as a case study to justify its own policies. It's like saying, we're not the bad guys because look at what happens elsewhere. But that ignores the systemic issues that drive people to risk their lives in the first place. Then there's the EU angle. Burnham mentions wanting to regular dialogue with the Schengen area. But here's the deeper question: why is the UK even engaging with the EU on this? The UK left the EU for sovereignty, yet here we are, asking for help managing a crisis that's partly a result of EU policies. It's like a parent who's just moved out but still expects the old house rules to apply. And don't get me started on the safe routes argument. Offering legal pathways sounds noble, but in practice, it's a way to shift blame. If you create a system where people can't access asylum, you're not solving the problem, you're just making the journey more dangerous. Let's circle back to the numbers. Small boat crossings are down 43% compared to last year. That's a drop, but it's still over 2,000 people in just one weekend. And net migration is at its lowest since 2012. But here's what's missing from the headlines: the majority of migrants aren't coming from war zones. They're coming from places where economic opportunities are scarce. So when Burnham says, we need to bring back control, what he's really saying is, we need to make the UK less attractive. But that's not a solution, it's a deflection. This whole situation feels like a game of chess. The UK is trying to play both sides, tough on enforcement, soft on compassion. But the truth is, you can't have it both ways. If you want to stop people from risking their lives, you have to address why they're risking them in the first place. And that's not something you can fix with more police or more boats. It's about rebuilding systems that actually work for people, not just systems that work for politics. So the next time you hear a politician talk about relentless action, ask yourself, are they solving a problem?